It is Tuesday. Thanks for joining us here on the 10 Weather Impact Show. I'm meteorologist Justin Gehrts.
And I'm meteorologist Aaron White. And so far, today's been relatively quiet. We've had some scattered showers earlier this morning, a little bit of rain overnight. Watching a little bit now, but really the bulk of the rain is still making its way here.
Yes, indeed. Actually, sun came out for a little bit for some of us this morning as well. Like north of 70 was a bit sunnier, south was cloudier, but those clouds have filled right back in.
Sure.
And, a sign of the approaching rain.
Yeah, but at least it still was pretty mild. I mean, we got up to, I think we're around 70 right now, so not bad.
No, and it'll be our warmest day in a little while. We have a couple of cool days coming up, and then we're back close to 70 this weekend, which is respectable given we have a couple of days in the upper 50s coming up as well.
Yeah, well, even considering, too, that it looked like this cooler weather was going to stick around longer than it is now, but it looks like it's going to warm up a little bit more as we head into the weekend. So our cool down, those 50s, maybe a day or two.
Yeah, it looks like a couple days. And I was looking at some stuff just beyond the 7-day forecast, and it looks like there's going to be another little push of cool air. But it looks like after about the 15th to 17th, the pattern changes and we get out of this cool situation. But as you mentioned, it has been nice that it hasn't been cool the entire time. We've had a little reprieves mixed in there. So, I mean, you get a few days of 50s and 60s and then back up to 70 or so for a couple of days.
It's fine.
Tolerable.
Yeah, and we could take a little bit of rain that we have in the forecast too.
Yeah, in fact, that's why we have that 10 weather impact alert for later on today and tonight. Normally it would be like, okay, yeah, it's not a big deal. But because it's election day, people are going to be out doing things this evening as well. That's why we have that out there. So those showers that are developing this afternoon, those two would turn to a steady rain this evening, and that lasts into the overnight hours. Looks like Wednesday through Friday is mostly dry around the area. Could be a couple of showers. Then we have another cool down coming up again after today as a cold front slides across the region. So later election day, that's today, we have that 10 weather impact for that steady rain developing, especially after about 6 o'clock. We'll see some showers before then, but things really start to pick up as we get closer to the evening hours. So what you can do if you're heading out to vote, which if you haven't done that yet, I hope you do that. Either take the umbrella if you're going this evening, or if you can, just vote earlier and avoid the showers to begin with. But we are starting to see some of those showers pop up already here at 2 o'clock. Here's a look at live radar as you see some areas of green, especially north of 70. In fact, even seeing a little lightning bolt icon showing up with that little guy east of Urbana. That's rolling off toward the north and east. So if you're in Marysville, maybe you'll hear a rumble of thunder here in a little bit. Otherwise, thunder today, tonight, not going to be much of a thing. There'll be some occasional rumbles here or there, perhaps, but severe weather, don't worry about it. We are seeing some other showers north of Delaware and out toward Newark as well. This is all lifting off toward the north and east fairly quickly, and this is scattered for the time being. The steadier rain is lurking back off to our west. There you see this first round extending from northwest Ohio back through Indiana. That works its way our direction over the next few hours. There's a little gap that's going to be filling in here. You start to notice it already down in downstate Illinois, some more showers developing, and then more rain back across northern Missouri. This is all the slug of moisture that's coming our way this evening into the overnight hours. As far as how much rain to expect, I'm thinking for most of us about a ½ inch to an inch is pretty likely. Some of you maybe a little bit less, some of you a little bit more, but by and large that ½ inch to an inch looks to be what many of us end up with by the time we start our day tomorrow. Now behind this system that's caused with the cold front, our temperatures drop again, so those low 70s today, you can say goodbye to those for a couple of days. 59 on the board for tomorrow into Thursday there. So we are going to be seeing those numbers about 10 plus degrees below average. A little bit of a climb toward the weekend, and then we fall back again as we go toward early next week. All right, here's your hour-by-hour forecast, doing a great job capturing those showers in our northern towns. Those continue progressing off toward the north and east. And here's 7 p.m. You see the farther west you are, the steadier the rain. Farther east may not be happening much, may not be seeing much yet by that point. It'll be cloudy, though, in any case. But there you see Columbus. We're in the rain here at 7 o'clock. And going into the overnight hours becomes more widespread, becomes steadier. Could be a little heavy at times, but again, no severe weather coming up out of this. Midnight, you're going to be hearing the sound of rain on the rooftop. Great news about this is it should not really affect the morning commute. There could be a few showers for the latter part of it, mainly in our eastern towns, but for the most part, looks like we'll be drying out by the time many of us are heading to work and school tomorrow. We may actually see some breaks in those clouds late tomorrow morning into the midday hours, but those fill right back in as we get into the afternoon. So we'll call tomorrow generally mostly cloudy, but there may be some intervals of sunshine for maybe 2-3 hours in there. It's also going to be breezy today. Peak gusts 25 to 30 miles an hour out of the southwest. Those winds, though, back off this evening and stay low into the overnight hours. As far as how things are looking right now, quite a range in temperatures. We still have 70 in Columbus. We're at 71 in Logan, 75 New Lexington, 74 in Zanesville. However, northwest where the clouds have thickened up and we've seen some showers develop, we're in the 60s for the most part, even 57 in Kenton. So when the rain starts to move in, your temperatures are going to start falling back into the 60s pretty easily. Notice the cooler temperatures back to our northwest. Cold front right there where you see those little streamlines bend. So you can see the cooler temperatures back behind. Highs only in the 50s coming up our way. Aiming for about 72 today. 10 weather impact alert for the later part of the day into the night for that steady rain developing. Any showers are going to be out of here very early tomorrow. In fact, I thought about getting rid of that shower chance just because it's going to be mostly before daybreak for a lot of us. In any case, we'll call it mostly cloudy for the most part tomorrow. 59 is your high. Partly cloudy on Thursday, 59 once again. A little chilly on Friday morning, 39 to start, but we're back to 64 in the afternoon. Mostly sunny early with increasing clouds during the afternoon. Could produce a stray shower later on Friday evening, but most of the rain with that next system falls Friday night into early on Saturday. Mother's Day, looking a little iffy at this point. Some scattered showers are a distinct possibility. Otherwise, mainly cloudy skies. Good news is we have highs back around 70 for the weekend before that next cool down arrives early next week.
Yeah, and I mean, nice to see those low 70s, and even good to see some rain because, of course, I know some areas, especially southern Ohio, starting to see those drier conditions. So a little bit of rain is helpful, and I know other parts of the country still really need that rain too.
Oh my goodness, would love to have what we're having.
Yeah, and as we talk about some of that rain, especially in the southeastern part of the state, southeastern part of the country, I should say, there actually has been major progress in the last 24 hours fighting some wildfires in southern Georgia, where they are facing some of those extreme to even exceptional drought conditions. The fire is now 75% contained. One family of 8 is trying to find their next steps after the Highway 82 fire changed their lives forever. CBS affiliate WTOC reporter Cam McCann is in Brantley County, Georgia, at the house where just to the road has reopened with more from that family.
I don't see how that just didn't burn.
In one Brantley County yard, the Highway 82 fire didn't impact this family of 14's home, but as for their neighbors, they're going to have to look at building from the ground up.
They had to been praying to God harder because Lord, their life was spared.
Jessica Cook is a mom of 6 children, but is struggling after her home was one of 110 others to be destroyed in Georgia's most destructive wildfire in state history. How are you staying strong?
I'm not.
While she and her entire family are devastated, her 11-year-old autistic twin daughters are struggling the most to adjust.
Even when I feel like falling down, I'll go use the bathroom, go in the back room, do what I gotta do, go behind the camper, let it all out, and then come back around like it never even happened. And I just keep reassuring them.
The camper was gifted to her by her friend. That friend's backyard is where she, her husband David, and their 6 kids are staying in the meantime.
You can't tell what anything is.
Today she took the time to walk around the remains of her home with me.
Just don't cry, just looking at it.
The chicken coop wasn't the only thing that was saved. Some of her neighbors' houses were also kept from the fire's path.
I don't understand it. Like it still haunts me to this day. Like how does this turn? And then that's completely untouched.
She says her family has plenty of donated clothing and food thanks to the county. And while she knows what her next steps are, she doesn't know when her family is going to be able to take them. In Brantley County, Cam McCann, WTOC News.
And wildfire continues to burn in Georgia. There are also wildfires burning out west.
Yeah, actually, parts of Arizona have been dealing with the drought conditions, of course, and also some of those fires. And the Hazen fire is estimated at 992 acres and is now only 10% contained. You can see some of the video here. The containment is located in the southwest corner of the fire, and basically they're just, trying to fight the fires as much as they can. Some of the fire operations on the east side of the lakes were successful yesterday. Crews spent much of the day constructing containment line ahead of the fire and then burned vegetation along the line to reinforce it and reduce the chance of some further spread as firefighters on the night shift patrolled this new containment feature and reported no issues. So hopefully they're getting into the progress of getting a little bit more containment, and some better conditions, of course, would definitely help that.
Yeah, good to see that they're at least making a little progress there.
Yeah, and actually, as we talk about not just fires, but just dry conditions, parts of eastern Illinois actually had a dust storm warning just yesterday. We were actually talking about this as those gusty winds swept across some loose soil, and there was some dirt actually just blowing around, and actually it was checked out here on satellite. So you can see this view here thanks to the Cooperative Institute for Research in the Atmosphere at Colorado State. You can see just the channels of dust there just on the different satellite picture here to help detect a variety of phenomena. And the loop switches between a normal view that helps pick out the dust, and the Illinois State Patrol even closed a section of the highway for a while Monday afternoon until those conditions improve.
Yeah,
so,
pretty wild to see. And they've had that happen a few times actually. Or at this point of the season, just because you got the farmers preparing the soil for planting, and that loosens things up. And when it's dry like this, you get windy days and it blows it around.
Yeah, and not even just in Illinois, but other parts of the Midwest, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin all saw that too.
Absolutely. And yesterday we told you about the drought hitting the mid-Atlantic states, including Virginia. And in today's 10 Weather Impact Show, we're hearing about how the dry weather is affecting beekeepers in that state.
Vasilia McCready, owner of Heritage Apiary in Botetourt County, is checking in on her bees. She's like all beekeepers in the state, just trying to make it through this drought.
This is the first year that I am having to deal with such dryness so early on.
Just about the entire Commonwealth is under severe drought conditions. The land is thirsty, and so is the honeybee population. A beehive uses up to a quart of water a day, obviously for survival, but other reasons too.
Honeybees actually use water inside for cooling, so they use a thin layer of water, they fan their wings, and they keep it at a temperature that they are comfortable in. They also use it to keep the brood moist, so to have baby bees hatch, they need to keep the larvae and everything in there just moist enough so that they stay healthy, so they're able to hatch as well.
What makes the drought situation even more concerning is that we're already dealing with a rapidly declining bee population.
Across the country, we lost about 60% of our bees this year. Beekeepers are used to losing bees around wintertime or through the winter due to specific pests and diseases. But with the lack of water and the brood not being able to maintain the strength of the hive and thriving, we may lose more bees early on.
Because if the bees aren't happy, they could abscond or abandon the hive because they don't have the resources to thrive.
The queen will send out a signal saying this is not a thriving place, and they will all end up leaving to try to find somewhere new.
As long as we remain in these drought conditions, you may find a good number of honeybees around a leaky water hose, gardens or flower pots that are well watered, at restaurants where there's outdoor seating, and by the pool because the water has minerals they love to drink up.
But if you're looking to try and get the bees away safely without harming them, you can purchase something called BB Gone, and it has a smell that the bees don't really appreciate. So to me, it smells like almond extract, so it's really not a bad smell, but the bees seem to be deterred by it.
If you don't mind the bees coming around, there is something you can do.
I like to recommend putting a basin out or a bowl, maybe a bird bath, with things that the bees can land on safely. So that will give them an opportunity to find water nearby them. And one easy trick to keep the mosquito larvae away is to putting a little bit of salt in the water, because that is a mineral that they need.
In this drought, even the honeybees need to stay hydrated. In Botetourt County, Niecy Payne, WDBJ7.
And as we go from the East Coast to the farther west, Colorado has actually been experiencing drought conditions, but they're now getting some heavy snow today.
Yeah, kind of wild to see, a May snowstorm. And, it does happen out there, a few times. I think they've had about 5 snowstorms in the last 10 or 15 years or so. The most recent one being 2019 in May, and actually are getting some more snow right now. This is actually a time lapse at Rocky Mountain National Park, and you can see some of that heavy snowfall coming down here today over just the last couple of hours. Some really big flakes, and some parts of the the National Park and also the higher elevations of the Rocky Mountains there in Colorado and southern Wyoming are likely going to get at least 2 feet of snow here as we go through about the next 24 hours. So here's a look at the satellite radar picture showing some rain there in Kansas and Nebraska back into northeastern Colorado, but you can see the switch there to the blue. That is all snow from Cheyenne down to just west of Denver. Just wild to see that. But again, it does happen. It's not uncommon to get snow in May, especially there in Colorado. And as we look at the alerts, there are actually winter storm warnings in effect for the Denver metro, as they won't be seeing 2 feet of snow, but the metro could actually see 4 to 8 inches here in the next 24 to 36 hours as they're getting that colder air building in, and of course plenty of moisture with this system. And elsewhere, those areas in purple, those are winter weather advisories. So over the last 24 hours, there has been some decent snowfall. Again, in the higher elevations, as we looked at there at Rocky Mountain National Park, some estimates right now showing at least some areas may have already had a foot of snowfall just in the last 24 hours, and still getting more right now. So yeah, welcome to May.
No thanks. I actually used to work with one of the meteorologists at our sister station in Denver. I'll have to check in with him to see how he's enjoying this snow in May. But
maybe not so much enjoyment.
Yeah, he's used to it. He has a corgi, so maybe he'll have to measure how high the snow is on her.
Right.
But, in any case, any electric vehicle owner will tell you that range is severely reduced in winter weather. AAA set out to figure out exactly how much temperature impacts battery efficiency. The organization looked at both pure EVs and hybrid vehicles, and it found that at 20 degrees, range is cut by 39% in EVs, while hybrids lose 23% in fuel efficiency. But also when it's 95 degrees, range is reduced less noticeably by 8.5% for EVs. That's a bit better than the 12% EVs lost. Last time AAA looked at this, hybrids, by the way, lost 12% of efficiency in hot weather. There's been no significant improvement in how vehicles handle cold the past several years. The most ideal temperature for both EVs and hybrids is between the Goldilocks of 65 and 75 degrees.
I feel like that's true for cars and people, right?
Right, exactly.
And finally today, let's check out some new video into us here at 10 TV. And, keeping with that cold theme, this is a view again in Colorado, that spring snowstorm bringing a mix of rain and snow to many parts of the state. This morning, CBS News Colorado's first alert weather tracker actually was driving along the highway there and actually just watching the crews plowing the roads, clearing the snow accumulation, the trees and mountain already seeing a good amount of snow building up. And they're likely going to get, again, more snowfall as we continue on through the rest of today into tonight, as they're just seeing those big travel impacts, of course, especially likely along I-70 as we go through the next 24 hours.
Yeah, and you can tell it's a wet snow, just sticking to everything, the sides of the signs and everything, just a sopping wet, sloppy snow.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be a nice, kind of good for some taking some photos once you get those clear blue skies the next day after all that snow clears out.
Oh yeah, well they can have it.
Yeah.
And thousands of visitors descended on Toronto's High Park this past weekend as the city's cherry blossoms reached peak bloom, turning parts of the park into a canopy of pink and white. Couples and families took selfies and posed for photos beneath the blossoms in a seasonal ritual that many residents see as a respite from daily life. The bloom's timing, often difficult to predict, is closely watched by locals on the park's website, where they track the tree's progress to stage 6, marking peak bloom. It's interesting to talk about the cherry blossoms because we watched them, about a month ago, a little more than a month ago in D.C., and then a little bit later here, and now they are in Toronto. So you see that northward progression of those blooms over the past month, 6 weeks or so.
Yeah, I mean, it's always nice to have the spring bloom and everything. I feel like we always, get that, just that winter feel and just let's get out of winter, and then everything starts to bloom, and it's it's so nice. And that's why everyone's down there enjoying it this weekend.
Yeah, no, certainly it looked like it was some nice weather as well, so a good time to be had. And of course, we're seeing our things blossom and bloom. Hopefully no more frost to be a concern for folks who have those going, but...
Yeah, because I know a lot of the farmers want to get out in the fields. Some have already gotten some crops planted, and there have been some concerns about that frost that we had last week. So hopefully that didn't affect too many of the crops.
Yeah.
We'll have to see how that plays out as we get into the next couple of weeks, as I'm sure a lot of the farmers will be more out into the fields, especially after this rain and we get some drier conditions here soon.
Yeah, hopefully not too muddy to get things taken care of, but we'll just have to see how things go with this upcoming rain. And speaking of that, starting off at 4 o'clock, Chief Meteorologist Chris Tomer is in, providing all the updates as far as the rain goes, the timing, how soon it gets out, and any new information on the amounts that you can expect. And of course, we also have our election coverage, extended coverage coming up this evening. If you don't have the 10 TV, well, of course you have the 10 TV app on your smart device because you're watching us here. So make sure you tune into that this evening for all of our election coverage as well.
Yeah, and for more coverage of the election and, of course, more weather coverage, you can always catch that online at 10tv.com.